Hey, good day. This is Greg Lewis, your city manager here in Lebanon. Welcome to Lebanon in Depth. You know, we try to give you direct information so that it's unfiltered and that you can judge for yourself. Today we're going to kind of have a session here, a little work session on the 2013 CIP program that's proposed. CIP stands for Capital Improvement Program. That's simply the major pieces of infrastructure development in the city that's proposed for consideration by the City Council. That's finance, so that means debt. So that's a very important thing. And this is a very complicated subject, and I don't know if we could do all the due service and diligence that it needs to as we do our session today. But we're going to take it on. We're going to try to leave you with some tools to understand this CIP program, which is very complicated but extremely important to the community. Extremely important to you as residents and you as stakeholders. It has major impact on your lives, and it really sets out a future. You know, if our vision per the council's direction is to become a sustainable community. To be a sustainable community, we have to have appropriate infrastructure, and that infrastructure has to be infrastructure that you're willing to have the city provide, that's affordable for you, that meets your basic necessities of life, and that means needs for water, needs for sewer, it means needs for solid waste management and disposal, and it means needs for transportation systems, needs for your roads and your highways and your bridges. We just must stay current with our infrastructure. We're under a whopper of a consent order that is a order that was entered into by agreement with the EPA that we would separate our water and sewer systems out there, and that CSO program is called Separation of Water and Sewer is going on over the last several years. It continues to go along. It's the big elephant in the room in the city. In addition, we have a couple other projects that have come up that are also infrastructure that have been pointed out as important items that need to be taken care of because of environmental deterioration of some of the infrastructure. And then we kind of have to keep some of our major items for fleet being vehicles, heavy equipment, that needs to be changed out on a regular basis based on a point system that's fairly complicated. These matters are tough matters in terms of balancing what we are able to afford, and yet if we fall behind, how will it harm us in terms of our public safety, in terms of our environment, in terms of our infrastructure to serve your needs, so that you as citizens can always be assured that you have safe water and sanitary sewer systems, and that you have a way of disposing of waste in this community, and that we improve our transportation systems. That being said, at the beginning, as a preface, despite all that we'll talk about here in this relatively short time we have to talk, I want you to know that the details, oftentimes the devil's in the details, but where you might want to go. For you people that are detail-oriented, and I'm sure there's many here in Lebanon, you need to go to the website. And there's a website on the CIP 2013 through 2018. This website is the program that's been developed and is updated, and it's found at http://planning.lebnh.net, and it's /home/planning-news/CIP 2013-2018. We'll have that appear on the screen, and at the end of our presentation today, I'll again remind you of that. You go there and you'll get all the details you ever want to know about, and I think it's such a great job that Lynn Jarvie has done in helping put together the CIP program. He's our finance director. Our planning department, under the leadership of Andrew Gaspre, and a really fine planner in terms of our planners. They have done a fine job in helping put this together. David Brooks has been our lead in trying to work through the CIP program, through the planning board. All these things being said, we're in a situation where we have to have change. we have to look to the future. And there's a couple things about that, and of course the people we have deployed, and then the tools we have to deal with, and that's the infrastructure I'll talk about in detail, and you'll see on that website. One thing I want to touch on is people in terms of our CIP program. There's only one initiative I put in the proposed 2013 budget, and that's for a Deputy Public Works Director position. And that's unusual for me in these times, because we're trying to be tame. We live within our limits. We're practicing leanness. We have to make some personnel reductions to hit the proposed budget that I have put before the council. And I just feel compelled, as a matter of being a good steward and servant to the council and to the people of Lebanon, that based on 25 years experience of both as a manager and earlier experience as a municipal attorney, working with many public works directors and deputy public works directors. I counted the other day as 14. I know clearly what it takes to be a public works director, and clearly what it takes to have deputy public works directors. And if you don't have those key positions in an organization where there's need for working CIP programs, you're just missing the knowledge piece of having two individuals at that director position, at that deputy director position, who have the knowledge and the abilities that you must have in order to manage our systems. That's our water system, that's our sewer system, that is our solid waste system, that is our transportation system, that's our engineering systems. We need that type of person, that type of professional, that credentialed person that spent years learning and then years experiencing how to do it on a global level, because it's the way of it is, in our world, the great generals we had, the great lieutenant generals we have, those are critical persons with a certain look at things, and they can help everyone from the residents, the stakeholders, and our people that are in our workforce, our employees who associate themselves with our city and do such fine hard work. They work hard. It makes to have generals and lieutenant generals to make your life better when you're down there. I know that from experience in many venues, but I know that from my service in the Army if you don't have those persons, you might find yourself when you're on the front lines being in very difficult and maybe impossible situations. That's why we need a deputy, to bring this special expertise and special learning experience and special knowledge to our attempts to basically transform our city to a sustainable city by 2030. There's lots of going on. We have to finish up the separation program for the CSO program as per the order, in working on that last project in 2018. And then we got to launch and consider all the improvements in the redo we have to consider with regard to our water plant and our sewer plant and our solid waste site. We got to preserve it. We got it so it lasts our solid waste site to 2090. This is an infinite amount of challenge. We're not your average sleepy city. Hardly. We're the opposite. We're a vibrant city, an unusual city of small numbers of population, but in the day just ballooning up into these very active 40,000 people in the city. And we have world-class organizations in the private sector and in the nonprofit sector. So this is really a vibrant, important city. It's not a very quiet. It's not a quiet place. It's not a place of isolation. It is part of the global economy, and we've got to have the players, and that's why I'm recommending the deputy director. That position doesn't come without cost. That position is $114,460, but its costs are split between the three funds. And three of the funds are the Solid Waste Disposal Fund, the Water Treatment and Distribution Fund, and the Sewage Collection and Disposal Fund, and the General Fund. Now so basically that keeps the total impact spread appropriately. The actual value of it, if we took it out of there, our present 2.0 would drop to about a 1.4% increase in the municipal tax levy. But that extra bite that's being proposed by me is going to come home and be a multiplier, and it will come home to great benefit here that we're yet to foresee. One person doesn't make this happen, but one person can be a catalyst. He can add that value so our wonderful workforce that we have can move forward. We need to move forward. As to the program itself that we have in terms of our CIP program this year, it's a hefty lift. A hefty lift like it always has been. When we look at our effort here, we see a lot of money being put into it. Right now, even in the proposed 2013 budget for debt service on past infrastructure, we have a debt service of $6,697,690. That's for past. Now, when we bring this one forward, as a proposal to the council, and we'll be taking it up November 29th. That's a Thursday session. But again, I remind you, you can go to the website and you'll get the complete information. We're going to be looking at a number of items. The biggest item that we look at, as always, is the CSO projects. And that's the one that I mentioned earlier that's pursuant to the consent order with the EPA. It's something they're requiring us to do to keep our rivers and our water safe. And we should do it ourselves because that's important to us as a sustainable community. That sum of money is consistently each year a significant factor in our CIP program. In 2013, that factor is $3,500,000. Now, that's a big sum, but that continues to be the similar pattern in the further years along the way in the CIP program in the future years as well. So that's kind of a pattern we've gone. We've spent a lot more in some of the other years, but this continues to be a big effort. A program that came out of kind of a different direction. It's not part of the EPA, but we need to look at it real seriously, and I'm recommending it in the CIP program. And that's really New Hampshire 120 and the Etna Road sewer improvements. There's infrastructure around that intersection there of 120 and Etna Road that is deteriorating. And the state has pointed out to us that it is deteriorating and that we need to fix it. It's unsound, and as it gets worse and worse and deteriorating, the problem will get worse and worse, and the impact will get worse and worse. It affects you environmentally, it affects your infrastructure, it affects our ability to be supportive of the private sector operations around there, but it's most important because it is for the whole community that we have to make sure our infrastructure is put together. That is a large sum of money in 2013. That's $2,130,000. So those are the two biggies. Another one that's important is also coming out, and that is we have Route 4A. And Route 4A is there's a sewer force main realignment replacement. The state's doing some work there, and as part of that effort, we've got to join in, and that's a $510,000 project. I was referring to some fleet replacement earlier. Well, we have some fleet replacement going on in DPW. The equipment we have is heavy equipment, but it really takes a pounding as they try to protect you as the residents and you as the stakeholders in making sure we deliver on protection of the sidewalks and the streets. And we have to, in one of our track vehicles, which is very expensive but very good, about getting out there and trying to get that snow off those sidewalks. That's a $570,000 item. Our fire department is being very lean. They have been very cautious and very prudent. And they are putting together one vehicle to replace two vehicles. And this vehicle they will be another fire truck vehicle with some special qualities and characteristics. And that's a $750,000 item. So you notice that these fleet vehicles whether they're fire or public works, they got to be rotated in and out, because if you let them all kind of deteriorate and their usability expires at the same time, you could imagine the spike you would have. The important thing in managing CIP programs in a municipality is, one, no spikes, no surprises. Let's lay it out over a long period of time. Let's keep us in our property tax impositions in a level field. Let's try, and the council is trying its best through its strong policy leadership to try to keep our municipal tax rate as level as possibly we can. And part of that is making sure that we're doing a turnover. Now, you can imagine the kind of point system that goes in and measuring what vehicles we do replace in the fleet. It's a very comprehensive one. It covers all features and facets with regard to the equipment. It's not just pick or choose or the oldest or whatever. It has all kinds of multipliers about the use, the quality, the number of miles, et cetera, et cetera. You'll find that at the website. There's an example of how the rating goes on. Looking at other things is that we are so devoted to making our landfill site the best ever for you within the money we have to work with. And there's some smart things going on out there under our solid waste management personnel, those fine people that are working out there in some difficult situations. One of them is we're decided we need to change out the baler out there. We can move in terms of baling things to be recyclable. We can move more because we need to watch that stream of waste, and we need to do it in a more efficient manner. And with the proper type of baler, where we're baling things, putting things together, compacting them in order to more efficiently and effectively move them, that's very important. And that's why we have a new baler in there. The baler, you'll notice on the website, is a $140,000 item. You'll also notice that at the landfill, the maintenance building expansion. You know, if you can imagine working in a landfill on every day in and day out basis, you know, all year round, how much difficulty it is. You got to have a place to stage your support for our members, our colleagues, our employees out there. And so they are so crowded. I went out and personally inspected their lockers, and they're just so on top of each other, and that's just unacceptable. I mean, we expect people to be safe and well, and we just can't have them crammed in. And so they've come up with a very cost-effective way of expanding the building out there for their landfill maintenance to help provide a more appropriate space for our hard workers out there. So that's a very important action, and that's about that particularly change of that landfill expansion is $200,000. You notice that when we pay the indebtedness, it may come out of different funds. There's some that come out of the property tax fund, which is really property tax, and some come out of these enterprise funds like the water fund and the sewer fund and the solid waste fund. So when you're in create infrastructure in any of those funds, the payment of the debt has to come out of those funds. So that causes things like you calculate it into the property tax for items paid by the property tax fund. For the other specialty funds, it's paid out of their particular funds, and that results in rate changes. And we're having some rate dialogue that's happening in the month of December, which I hope you all enjoy and join in and get a chance to review that. I do want to mention an aside that, you know, if we don't provide adequate revenue because the rate is not, our products start to reduce and to no longer be as effective as they are right now, and that results in impact on you and citizens and an impact on our overall community. So it's important steps, and it's kind of the whole world. There's no free lunch in our world. We have to recognize costs, and we have to try to conservatively manage those and be good stewards, but it does happen. And we'll have that discussion here in the month of December. Look forward to visiting with you about that. We deploy a lot of technology in terms of trying to manage things. And our quality water is just, it's essential to us that we have a strong performance in keeping our measurements up in terms of the quality of water. We're moving along our transformation of our systems for technology and exercising supervisory control and making sure we have the right data on water. It's called the SCADA, it's SCADA. It's really a computer hardware software program. probably more software, $220,000 in it. It moves it along another phase. We got to keep a handle on that because I've been in communities where the water went bad, and you don't want to be that community. And so we need to keep a careful handle on the measurements of that water. We need to be precise. In order to do that, we need to keep current with the technology available. Part of our requirement under the order and our commitment to EPA, we need to assess, evaluate our sewer system. And so we have in our capital plan this year, continuing that process of keeping commitments that we made, doing a sewer system evaluation. That's $200,000. That's essentially the general improvements. We have some specific airport improvements that we have to have in terms of just the routine functioning of the airport. Now, remember, these costs are picked up 90% by the federal, 5% by the state, and 5% by the city. Equipment, again, heavy equipment. We got to keep turning it over, and we do point systems. And there's a heavy-duty mower acquisition for $80,000 out there. Buildings is important. We got to get those pieces of equipment, keep them functional, because boy, when you have snow and things, and you trying to bring planes into the airport, we've got to be sure we're safe, and we got to be sure we get that snow clean, and we got to keep those vehicles more undercover than out from undercover, and that's expectations by the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, that they expect us to do that. And so there's equipment to keep these vehicles out undercover, and that's $870,000. There's also we're looking at some ongoing with our existing property out there, obstruction cleaning, clearing away, and that's $260,000. We're going to make some security improvements. You know how important security are in these days for every airport, no matter how large or how small. And so there's some addition there for $50,000. The airport building, keep it controlled and maintained properly with some air conditioning units. That's an $80,000 proposition. There's a fuel truck spill containment area that we need to work up at $80,000, because you get a fuel spill in an aviation area, that's just not the place to be. How does this all fit in the big picture? Well, the big picture is that when we fight to try to maintain a level tax levy, this is a great impact. There's really two impacts in it. One is the human resources, the cost of human resources, but the other is the capital program that we're under. And so we're always looking at what we're going to do for our capital improvements. And correspondingly, when we do approve them, then they come back to us in a following year with the debt service, because after they're sold, the debt service comes back to us. And I do want to mention the debt service is an important feature of what we're doing here. The 2013 budget has debt service at $3,917,220. That's for past capital improvements. So as we move forward with this round of capital improvements, you know that debt service will continue. You know that for a sustainable community, we have to plan to have that debt service. We're trying to set up our capital reserves. These are like non-financial, non-bonding types of reserves where we could buy things like vehicles and such. We're trying to manage those reserves and try to create those that would save some financial costs. The leadership of our finance director, Lynn Jarvie, we're looking at reserve management. So that might help in the future as we continue with our debt service. It's challenging to have a debt service like we have. But you could, if we didn't use financing to pay for some of this infrastructure that's required in a vibrant city like Lebanon, you would have to really spike our budget operational side, and that just wouldn't be sustainable. That wouldn't be acceptable. I don't think residents would look at that as something they would willingly do, and it wouldn't be affordable, and so therefore we have to use financing mechanisms in all that we do. I think that looking at our situation, we actually had lower our long-term bonding and notes this year, but that's really just a combination of when we retire certain of our bonding payments that can kind of change and maybe lower it. So this year it's lower, but next year it'll be back to its other side. So this is a long-term process. CIP is a long-term process. It is not going to go away. It's going to be continuous. So we've got to try to keep this level, but manage it and try to keep the infrastructure worked on within the resources we have, and keep working. I've started to talk a lot about taking 21-mile marches every day. And that's a way of saying that we have to have discipline in our capital improvement planning and deployment, so that we continue to do that march. Because if we don't, if we just 1 year we take a time out, we just will have a below performance capital improvement program. Well, guess what? The next couple of years you'll have a bounce back and a spike. That's not what we call sustainable, where you put something more out of it. It's really, you don't put anything in, you get, and then what you get is you got double back. You double down on the kind of a reverse entry where you have to raise your amount of money in order to pay for the infrastructure, or watch your infrastructure just fall around your shoulders. We're good stewards, and we're going to propose propositions to the city council, the residents, for your consideration, so you're never put in that situation. Outcomes are everything here in Lebanon, and we're transforming into a cultural organization that is outcome-based. And change is hard. Change is real hard. And in the capital, in our outcome plan, throughout our outcome plan, there are outcomes we're working on that have capital improvement ramifications. We want to put an entire long-range multimodal transportation plan in place. That's a very significant thing, and all our lives will be improved. We want at the same time, we want to have it to be highly efficient. And we want to have good infrastructure and a great pavement management program. That's fine. These are outcomes that we need to pursue. All that we do here is about service to others, service to citizens, and we're not doing anything with regards to self-serving types of things. I think everyone has to be mature. Maturity means that we have to learn what we can live with as a total community, and that we have to get up every morning and do this work, and we have to do it with a good attitude, and we have to express our concerns through our processes and the civic engagement, and come to the council meetings and listen to the work sessions, and come at public hearing. The public hearing on the budget and the CIP will be December 19th. You should come, but you shouldn't just wait to come there. You should make sure your thoughts are known. You can email me your thoughts, and I will share them with everyone. And that email is always simple. It's greg.lewis@Leb, New Hampshire, and it's lebnh.com. lebcity.com, excuse me. So that will always be available to you as we are kind of working toward closure. I want to refer you back to what I said earlier about the website. The website on the CIP 2013 budget, and it's the 2013 through the 2018. Take a look at it. Just kind of weave your way around through it, and it's under planning dot, and it's lebnh.net/home/planning-news CIP 2013-2018. It's on the website. Use our website as much as you can. That website is meant for you. You get direct information off that website, and that's not filtered by newspapers or bloggers or columnists or just word of mouth, rumors, and all that sort of thing. Look at the website. It's just the facts, just the facts about CIP. Um, you know, when you come to community, you got a people, and we have great people here in Lebanon. We have great people that are residents. We have great people that are stakeholders, and we have great people that are employees of the city of Lebanon. It's about place. This is an amazing place. It is a unique place. It is not a sleepy place. It is a vibrant place, and a vibrant place puts a lot of wear and tear on its capital improvements. And if you're going to be good stewards, and you're going to be the ants and not the grasshoppers, you're going to have to take care of the CIP as a matter of good stewardship. We have tools at our disposal, and you'll see them being deployed in technology. You'll see the special tools that are helping us do things like expand the solid waste landfill site till 2090. These deployments of these technologies, whether they're measuring water or helping us bale recyclable materials better, are basically game changers. They have multiplier effects. We are not doing more with less. We are doing differently things to get more value that are serving the goals and outcomes that the City Council wishes on your behalf, that we hope will serve in you in good stead now and in the future. We're looking toward 2030, and we're beginning now with one more year of survival of 2013. And we'll follow that with a phase 2014, 15, and 16, where we'll begin another phase in the transformation. All about serving the residents of Lebanon. You're our first in our hearts, and is to serve those stakeholders and businesses in Lebanon who we're really proud to have here. And thank you for choosing Lebanon to have your business located in. Thanks a lot today. Be sure and watch the website on CIP. Have a good day.